Almost all bikes these days use hydraulic braking systems, and in order for these braking systems to work properly, they need to be properly filled with a hydraulic fluid, brake fluid. Now, brake fluid has two main jobs to do on any vehicle. One is to apply braking pressure from your hand or your foot through the braking system to the brakes via hydraulic action. And the second, which is very important, is that it needs to protect the braking system against corrosion from moisture. It has to work under some very demanding conditions. It has to maintain a stable viscosity from temperatures below freezing to high temperatures generated by heat from the braking system, and it doesn't last forever. Brake fluid degrades over time. It's hygroscopic, so it absorbs moisture from the atmosphere. And although we don't notice it because it creeps up on us gradually, the efficiency of our brakes gradually fades away. Now, most manufacturers recommend that you should do a complete brake fluid change once every 2 years. Although there is a school of thought that says you should do it yearly, which is valid, and I'm not going to argue with that. Either way, if your T120 or any other motorcycle has reached 2 years of age, it's time to change your braking fluid. And this is generally a job that strikes fear in the heart of any DIY mechanic. But it needn't. Changing the brake fluid on a bike is far easier and far more straightforward than changing it on a car. And today I'm going to show you how to do it using a vetomile bleeding kit. Now, I had a quick ring round of 1 or 2 local bike dealerships to see how much it would cost to have the brake fluid changed on my bike, and I was quoted anywhere from £80 to £100 plus VAT for the hour or so's labour that they said would be needed to do it. Now, that's a lot of money, but if you don't have the confidence to do it yourself, it's a small price to pay for peace of mind. We are, after all, talking about our safety here. These vetomile kits can be had on Amazon for under £17. I actually bought this kit back at the beginning of summer with the intention of using it to do the T100, but I got busy with other things and that didn't happen, although it is going to happen in the next few weeks. In the meantime, back in July, the T120 clicked past the 2-year-old stage. And I have, of late, especially after riding the bobber quite a lot, noticed that the brakes weren't really performing the way they should do. Especially at the front end, the brakes were starting to feel very spongy, and although they were safe enough to stop the bike, I knew in my mind that they had been better when the bike was younger. Now, inside the carry case you'll find some very rudimentary but adequate instructions on how to assemble and use the kit. You'll also find a basic but reasonably sturdy hand pump. This is a vacuum pump in that as you activate it, it doesn't blow air out, it sucks air in. And it's designed to create a vacuum in the bleeding system to effectively suck your brake fluid through the system to allow you to change it. You'll also find some lengths of plastic tubing, a collection cup that has a lid with 2 hose tails, one coming out either side, and one at the bottom designed to protrude into the bottom of your collection cup. You also get a little plastic bag with various bits and pieces, fittings, etc. for bleed nipples. And as far as I can tell, these are mainly aimed at use on cars. Although this kit is sold for motorcycle use, I don't think it's specifically tailored for motorcycles, and I'll go on to that in a minute. Assembly is straightforward. Going by the diagram in the instructions, you connect the pump up to the collection cup via one short hose. The second short hose goes into the hose tail at the bottom of the lid protruding into the cup, and one of the longer hoses is connected up to the other side of the lid on the cup, which is the hose that is also actually connected up to the bleed nipple on your bike brake caliper. Now, one interesting thing to note here, I don't know whether this was intentional or not, but looking at these 2 hoses, One is of a slightly smaller diameter than the other. None of the fittings in the kit will fit onto the bleed nipple on the Nissan calipers that are fitted on the T120. They're all too big. But I did find that the smaller bore of the two hoses was a really good fit, and that's the one that I used. Now, in addition to this, I also used a small cable tie to tighten it up once it was fitted onto the nipple, just to ensure that I got the best fit possible. Let's get on with it. Right, starting with your front brakes. First things first, protect the tank of your bike with a towel or something similar. We're using a DOT4 brake fluid, which is usually a glycol-based brake fluid, and it is corrosive to paintwork. So you need to protect any paint surfaces from inadvertent drips or splashes. Once you've done that, carefully remove your brake reservoir cap and the seal insert, which is situated underneath that. Make sure that you've got plenty of rags or workshop wipes handy in case of an emergency. And what I also like to do is position some workshop wipe around the top of the brake reservoir just to guard against any spills whilst you're going through the bleeding operation. Now, in order to get the best angles for filming, I couldn't do this, but you should then position your handlebars so that you're getting your brake reservoir as level as possible. Then make note of the fluid level in your reservoir. When you've completed this operation, you should be topping up to that same level. Don't be tempted to fill it up to the maximum mark. The reason being that if 6 months down the line you need to change your pads, you may well find that you've got way too much fluid in your system. Now, once you've done this, it's time to start bleeding your brakes. Starting on the left hand caliper on the front of your bike, locate your bleed nipple and remove the dust cap. Then connect up the hose from your vacuum pump. If necessary, secure it with a cable tie, and then start pumping until you reach a negative air pressure of around 400 psi. You're then going to need an 8mm open-ended spanner to open the bleed valve. Now, the instructions with the kit tell you to pump it and build up the negative pressure in your collection cup, then open the valve, allow some to come through, and as the pressure drops, close it again, and then continue repeating that process. In actual fact, I found it very easy to maintain a negative pressure of 400 psi by just continually pumping it with the valve open. If you don't want to do that, follow the instructions that comes with your kit. Now, whichever of those two methods you use, you need to keep an eye on what's happening with your brake reservoir. Initially, you want to get as much of the old fluid out of that reservoir as possible. So what I like to do is keep pumping until the fluid level is about 2 or 3 millimeters off the bottom of the reservoir, making sure that it's still covering the hole that allows the fluid to pass through, and then top it up to the maximum level. After doing that the first time, it's okay from then on just to allow it to come down to the minimum level before topping up. And I would advocate 3 or 4 reservoir fulls before completing that side and moving over to the other side. Now, the reason for this is that you're not just looking to exchange old fluid for new fluid. You're also looking to flush out any of the contamination left behind by that old fluid. Now, I personally like to use the Silkolene Universal brake and clutch fluid, which is available in a 500ml bottle. Now, in reality, in your front braking system, there will be less than 200ml. In fact, probably not much more than 100ml. I did look this up to try and find the exact capacity, but I was unable to find any answers. But with this size bottle of Silkolene, it allows you to flush the system through thoroughly and still have some fresh fluid left in your bottle, so you know you have plenty and you're not going to run out. Now, when it comes to the right hand caliper, because you've already changed most of the fluid in the front system, you only really need to cycle through 2 reservoirs full to complete this task. And remember, when you've finished, make sure that you only top it up to the level it was at when you started. It's now time to test your brake. Pump your lever several times. Initially, there'll be no pressure there. You've got to wait for the hydraulic pressure to build back up. When it does return, look for a good solid feel. Mine returned no problem whatsoever. In fact, it was better than I remember it being in the past. And this is something that I attribute to the Silkolene brake fluid. It is a really stable product that gives a really good feel at the brake. Once you're happy that everything's okay, replace your brake reservoir seal and cap and do any cleanup work that needs to be done before moving on to the back brake. Now, one thing I will mention, because no doubt someone has noticed in this footage, is that the fluid, when it's been drawn from the pump through into the collection cup, doesn't come out in one steady stream. There appears to be a lot of air in it. The reason for this is that the bleed nipple, even at a quarter of a turn, just cracking it open, the suction from these pumps is so powerful that it actually sucks air past the thread in the bleed nipple and draws it into the pump system. This is quite common, and I know a lot of people, to avoid this, wrap the threads with a PTFE tape to cut down the incidence of that occurring. Personally, it doesn't bother me. Any air that's drawn in is drawn straight into the pump. It doesn't go into the system, and I've never had a problem. Don't worry about it. As long as you maintain a good steady negative air pressure while ever that bleed valve's open, none of that air is going to get into your braking system. Now, your rear brake is exactly the same procedure as your front braking system, except it's significantly easier because you only have one caliper and you have significantly less fluid in the system. As before, take precautions against any spillages on your frame or any other paintwork. Remove your reservoir cap and seal, and then connect up your vacuum pump to the bleed nipple and start to pump the fluid through. I recommend 3 reservoirs full for the rear brake. This ensures that you not only replace all the old fluid with new fluid, but you flush the system through thoroughly. One thing I will say about the rear brake is that the old brake fluid was very dirty compared to the front. Well overdue for changing. Same as before, when you've completed, pump your pedal and check for feel, make sure that everything's working correctly. Replace your reservoir cap and seal, and then do any cleanup work that you need to do. I'm pleased to say I had absolutely no problem with any air in the system during this complete procedure. Everything went like clockwork. From start to finish, including all the messing around I have to go through with the cameras trying to film what I'm doing, the whole operation took me about an hour and a half. That's for the front and the rear brakes from start to finishing cleanup. Now, in reality, I reckon without having to film it, that would have been 30-45 minutes tops. This doesn't have to be a huge job if you don't want it to be. I did take the bike for a short test ride, and both the front and rear brake were significantly better than prior to me doing this change. Neglect your braking system at your peril. This little vetomile kit makes changing the fluid really easy, and it's cheap as chips. Generally speaking, on Amazon it gets good reviews. There are 1 or 2 bad ones, but with any product you're always going to get the odd defective item. At the end of the day, even if it only gets you through 1 brake fluid change on your bike, it's more than paid for itself compared to what it would cost you to get it done at your dealership. What I will say is, when you've finished, don't just throw that tool back into its kit and forget about it until next time. Disassemble it and clean it as thoroughly as you possibly can with dry, clean workshop wipes. Try and remove every trace of brake fluid from every surface that is accessible. Then put it away. Now, one final tip. When you've finished and you've test ridden your bike and you're happy that everything's okay, just as an added precaution, secure your brake lever at about the halfway point with something like a cable tie or some tape. Don't pull it all the way in, just at about the halfway point, and then leave it that way overnight. The same can be done with a foot brake by suspending a weight off it. Now, the theory behind this is that it puts the system under pressure, and that this forces any trapped air bubbles in the system up to the top and into the air gap in your fluid reservoir. It'll also bring to your attention any leaks around your brake nipples if you've not tightened them up sufficiently. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you found it useful. If you have, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll leave a link for this vacuum pump and for the Silkolene Universal brake and clutch fluid in the video description down below. I will of course be back on Friday, so until then, Ride safely, and I'll see you soon.